Another day, another job. Alright, to get you caught up to where we're at here today. We had to cut out some soft spots in the floor. So what we did was we laid down the panel that in the area where we needed to patch some spots. There was a couple of soft spots here where in front of where the sink and the dishwasher were that I wanted to cut out. And then when I got everything else off, I found some soft spots in front of where the stove was at. So we laid the entire sheet down, measured in 16 inches from the seam here, which is where the next stud was at. And then I drew a black line around the entire panel. Then I moved the panel. Then I slid the panel over to where the blade length of my skill saw was snug on up against the board and right on the black line, so that my wife could actually cut the line nice and straight. And we did that. We just screwed down this board into the bottom board so it wouldn't move. And then my wife's skill sawed along two sides, and then we moved the board the other direction to where we could cut this side, and she did the same things. And then I went down in between each of the 16-inch beams, and I cut, as you can see there's little cut marks here, I cut a slit, and I only went deep enough to get through the board, not into the studs, but I went in between each of the studs so that we could snap off these pieces. And then unfortunately we had to all of the beams were, or this subflooring was glued, screwed, stapled, nailed, everything else into these beams in here. So once we pried up all these pieces of stuff here, we had to scrape every stud and pull every nail and pull every staple out of each of those sections. And then we test fitted this panel back in there, and it slid right in, no problem. As you can see, it's pretty snug all the way around. We are going to pull it back out because with this we have access to the duct. If you remember, there was an AC vent right here. I got to re-put that in, so I have to cut that out, but I may put in a larger one. So I have to go to the store, see what they have. But we also have access to the PEX water lines, which PEX is this plastic water line that we see here, and it's coming in here. The main drain line is also running down here, as well as the main ducting. So I have to remove the water that was over where the old refrigerator spot was going to be, and we're going to be putting the new refrigerator over here once I extend this wall out. So the new refrigerator is here, but we're not going to use the water, so I just need to be able to hopefully find where the line is coming and connecting in under here, and I'm hopefully just going to be able to cap that off. Plus apparently there's a hot and cold water line coming off of the main going over here towards where the bar was at. So apparently there was a sink or something in the bar before. So now I'm going to cap those off and cap off the actual drain line that's heading in that direction. So that'll be a nice pain in the butt. We also were measuring where the cabinets were going to go, and the sink is actually going to go almost where this one's at. I think from where it was at, I think it's going to go over like 2 inches maybe. So the drain and drain pipe and water lines should be okay. It depends on where exactly all this is. There is no vent going all the way up through the roof. It actually just vents right underneath the sink here. So I have to see how much of this I can get away with, because the sink that we're getting may sit lower, and it's supposed to be one of those like farmhouse types of sinks, so it's just one big sink hole, and the garbage disposal and everything has to sit there, so everything, P-trap and everything else, needs to sit a lot lower. So I can probably cut this down and reconfigure it for what I need, but we'll have to wait and see, because you have to do garbage disposal down, out, into the P-trap, and then down into the drain and be vented. So that's going to be a pain in the butt. Plus it's in the middle of the floor, it's not coming out of the wall, which typically plumbing comes out of the wall. Now since I have some of the subfloor up, I possibly could move the drain line and move it back into the wall and then have it come back out. Haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. We do as well have to move all of the electrical. I bought new boxes to actually mount to the studs instead of this freestanding stupid stuff that just locks into a hole in drywall. I hated those, but it's GFCI, so ground fault interrupter circuit ones. So I have to get this one here, which should be pretty easy because I can actually go behind all the studs and just move the wires and staple them to the backs of the wires. But I'm going to move this one, and it'll be the first one wherever next to the refrigerator cabinet, and then I'm going to space them out along here to go 2 in the corner where our Lazy Susan cabinet is going to be, and then I'm going to change this one. It's going to be pulled over to this cabinet that's going to be on this side of the range, because the range is actually going to be moving over. This is the refrigerator one. I have to see if this is actually a dedicated circuit like it's supposed to be. If it is, then I'm going to move this wire and either pull it back out and see if I can drop it over here, or I will just run a junction box up on top of where the cabinets are going to be so you can't see it, but I can still have access to it, and then run the wire through the walls up to this point and then in between the wall studs, and then drop it, well, not drop it, put it where it needs to be on that wall there. I also need to patch a hole in the floor, patch a window hole here, because we're not going to have, this is just going to be a solid wall from now on. Have to move the electrical outlet that's up here, well, not the outlet, the junction box that's in the ceiling for this light, because this light is sitting way too close to the wall, because even with a 1/2 inch drywall and then 12-inch cabinets, boom, they're right there, because there is going to be a cabinet over the sink. So this I probably need to patch, and I'll try to drop the wires from this under or behind and into the wall here. So if I want to put a light underneath this cabinet to shine down on where the sink's going to be, I'll have that option. Or I can use this as power to pull a lower voltage lighting if I want to do that under mount lighting, garbage later or whatever. I'll have the power here in the wall or behind the wall to be able to do that with. This plug outlet here is for the microwave that goes above the range, so that one basically just needs to move over. Hopefully I have enough wire to be able to pull it. It should be, it's coming out of the duct hole in the ceiling, so I got to take off this duct anyway, because we're not going to be using the duct, and patch a hole, so that just gives me more problems. But I can fish the wire down through, and it can actually come down out of this hole possibly, depending on how far in I can reach, and drop it down and have it within the cabinet, and I'll get the measurements for that. I also do have some drywall that I've picked up, and some studs that we're going to be framing in the doorway. We're going to be framing in the window, and we have to put additional framing in these spots, like this corner. The original drywall actually slid behind here. I don't know if you can see it, there's a little hole here. The drywall slid in here for this paneling stuff that they had. I want to put a stud here so that I can actually have something to shoot some screws into to hold the drywall nice into the corner. So I got a stud there, plus this span between these two is a little bit bigger than what I like, and since I have to be able to have something really good to mount some cabinets to, you know, uppers and lowers, I'm going to put a stud in the middle here, so that just gives me extra an extra stud. Plus, when I'm messing with these, you see, you know, some of these things were not mounted properly. It's a mobile home, that's what happens. Here's another one. This one here has the larger span. It does have these butterfly clips that are sticking through, which are actually holding on the towel bar on the bathroom that's on the other side. So that's gonna kind of be a weird one. We are gonna remodel the bathroom later, but not now. So for these, I don't want to get in the way of them, so if I do a stud, I'll have to do a stud right next to them. Luckily it's exposed. Then of course the same sort of thing here. We've got these two that are flush this way, but I need it to come out to the stud to where I can shoot some screws into the drywall. And then somewhere along here we're going to be building the wall for the new pantry side. So once we measure that out, I'll put a stud here so that I have something that I can attach my wall to. So yeah, there's still a lot to do. I'm hoping I don't have to move this electrical. I'm gonna do some measurements on that. But since I do have the floor open, if I have to move the electrical, I can do that. I can just turn off the breaker and you know, move it over a foot or something if I need to. But I think it'll work where it's at. It'll just be on that edge of the range space. We'll see. But yeah, we are making little bits of progress. I may be repeating myself on some of the stuff that I know that I need to do, but if I don't repeat it and get it stuck in my head, then I will forget what I'm doing. Which, you know, I do have a plan, and we have the cabinets. They still haven't called saying that they're bringing them yet, so we still have time to do this, but I can only do so much as I am physically able to do. So, you know, pieces parted together. Also have to pull out this piece of drywall that's over here, which I don't like because it is thinner than the new drywall. That for some reason this is newer drywall than what was in the old pantry, which is this weird stupid stuff. So we're going to be probably pulling that out too, and that means I need to buy another sheet of drywall. Maybe I can just buy one of those 12 footers and put that in there, because it's like 9.5 feet tall or something. And then just nail her in or screw her in, whatever it takes. But yeah, we're making some good progress there. Also, this wall, the outer skin of this wall, is going to be probably ripped down to at least 4, if not 5 feet. We're going to replace the switch box, which is really not installed properly. Frame it in better because it flexes in the wall. It flexes, so anytime you try to push this center light switch on, which also has the dimmer on it, the whole thing, I don't even know if you can see it, the whole thing flexes in. So you really have to like push it in to get it to go on, to click on to work the beautiful little antique light that we have here. So yeah, that's got to be replaced. So I'm just going to rip the whole skin off anyway, because I have some electrical wiring and some of our security camera wiring is coming through the floor here, and I want to be able to get it and tuck it in the proper way. So yeah, that is going to do it for this video. We'll show you a little more when we get some more done.